But what?
Nothing.
Has it become their IP?
Here we are once again with each other on this Hanukkah. Everyone, it's the first day of Hanukkah. Real excited about that?
Yes.
Very.
Happy Hanukkah, everyone.
Happy Hanukkah.
I want to test out something. I want to hear each of you say Hanukkah, and I want to hear if you can say it right.
Well,
I don't have enough phlegm in my
thanks to
throat
me
for
having
that.
the flu, I can say it perfectly.
Go ahead, Jack. Let's hear it.
Hanukkah.
Jen?
Hanukkah.
Good. A lot of phlegm there. In fact, you have to wipe off your screen now, please.
Yeah.
Your camera lens. Trish?
Hanukkah. Can I say
Little
Hanukkah? Yeah.
No. Phlegm. And Corinne?
Hanukkah.
You too.
No.
Really, it takes some work. It's
Happy Hanukkah. How's that?
Hanukkah. Anyway, happy
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah. As we know, it's the festival of lights.
Chanukah.
Ben has a lot of lights behind her.
Yeah, that's my Hanukkah tree.
And it's also the holiday season. We are smack in the middle of the holiday season. It's really cool. Listen, I was thinking this about the holiday season today, and it's pretty amazing when you consider it. We know that it brings with it a lot of stress, right? We've talked about that. I feel like ad infinitum. We talk about stress a lot. You have to, if you're going to talk about health and happiness, you have to talk about its opposite.
Mm-hmm.
But today, we're not going to talk about stress so much as we're going to talk about happiness and good vibes and good feelings and things like that. And that's what's amazing about the holiday season, because the holiday season is a time of year where we just make a group decision that we're all going to be kinder and happier. Think about that. There's no reason. I mean, in a couple of days, we're about to have the darkest, most depressing day of the year, right? It's dark, it's cold. There's no reason to be happy. The only reason is because a decision was made to be so.
Wait. Why is this a dark day? I don't get it. I'm lost.
21st.
The 21st, the darkest day of the year.
Longest day of the season. Winter.
Oh.
First day of winter. But on the other side,
I didn't know that
side,
It's the darkest, that's the longest day of the year, the darkest day. And then the 22nd, and every
it
day
starts to
forward.
lighten up again. Thank
Yes.
you.
In other words, it should be very depressing. But years ago, people got together and they said, okay, we don't want it to be depressed. We want to be happy. So let's make a decision to be happy and give each other gifts and do other happy-making things. And that's how we have Christmas. That's the story of Christmas.
No. But don't get religious on here.
No, that's the secular story of Christmas. And there's
And
some
it's not-
consumerism, right? Like the companies, want to make some money also. So they've encouraged that. But that's the secular. Basically, that's what it is. That's the story of the holiday season. A group decision where everyone agrees, you know what? This sucks. It's cold. It's dark. We hate it. And let's just throw a party.
So
We
history
can agree
behind
to
it.
disagree.
I don't understand what you're disagreeing about. And Jennifer, are you frozen?
I'm not. I don't think so.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I think you were frozen there for a minute. Jen, do you agree or disagree?
So the history behind it is that the Yule season was a pagan holiday, and when the church came in, they decided to take over the pagan holiday because they needed to break up the winter, and they couldn't celebrate the birth. Christmas is traditionally the birth of Christ. They couldn't celebrate it during the harvest season, so they moved the holiday celebration to a different time period. So the group decision was to move the celebration to a different time. We're celebrating it all. We're actually celebrating a pagan holiday. We shouldn't be celebrating Christmas if you're a Christian.
Jen, you'll not speak sacrilege.
I'm speaking historical.
Yeah. So there is some of that, right? So yes, I will grant you. I gave my version of it, but it's not untrue.
Well, I'm just trying to.
It's not untrue. It's the winter. Let's throw a party. Let's give gifts. Let's try to be happy because this is a time where people otherwise. I mean, the weather and the circumstances mitigate against happiness. Yeah. Jackie said to me yesterday that she was really upset by, there was a famous DJ and he was in a bad place, I guess. Nobody knew, but he decided to take his life.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Jackie? And what was so jarring to you about that?
I think it's for me. It was obviously I don't know, him, but I've seen videos of him, his wife. Actually, throughout the pandemic, they would post daily of them dancing together. So to me, it always put a smile on my face because like, look how great this is. They're just dancing in their living room with their family, and it was just fun and catchy and pretty much carefree, effortless. Like there was not a care in the world. They were just happy to be with each other and having a good time, and they always seemed that way. Face value, that was always posted to social media, which I think tends to be what everybody does. They put what they want everyone to see out there, and we really never question anything other than that below the surface. And
Right.
I think that when I heard it, I was so shocked, completely blindsided by it. Not that there was a connection directly to them, but wow, putting on this whole facade that there's so much happy, everything is good, there's no bad in the world, and this happens.
Right.
It really it just shocked me because it makes you really wonder how many people that there's been quite a few things circulating since where it's like, check on those that are always the happiest, check on those that are always quick to help others and not do for themselves.
Yes, so they're not sincerely happy, but they are putting on that brave and happy
Absolutely.
facade, like you were saying. Well, the idea obviously is to be sincerely and internally happy and joyful.
Always.
And so towards that end, here's what I'd like to know. I'd like everyone to tell me their favorite Christmas memory, starting with Corinne.
So my favorite Christmas memory was when my brother and I and my sister were kids. My brother and I snuck downstairs, and it was before, Christmas morning, and we went through the whole tree. And usually my mom like mixes them all up. We decided to put them in piles in front of each other. Oh, my mom was so mad when she woke up in the morning and she saw that everything was all in piles and we were lined up and we were sitting there just like this, waiting preciously to open up our presents. And my mom was like, "What did you guys do?" And then we just obviously made the most fun of it, but like, those are my memories of Christmas are like just being with family, or the time that my brother and I went and snooped in my mother's closet. And then she asked us what we wanted for Christmas, and we told her everything that was in the closet. And she returned everything and went to the store and bought completely different things just so that we would be surprised on Christmas.
How about
Like,
that?
Oh, that's funny.
So one
It's
story about pissing Mama off, and another one about her
They
doing
were both
something.
making Mama mad, right?
Yeah, interesting. And Trish, how about you? Favorite holiday season memory? Because obviously it's Hanukkah. If I'm going to participate in this, then it's not just Christmas. But when I say Christmas, I just mean the season.
Yeah. So mine, we were a little older. It was my last Christmas before I got married. It was like one of the best Christmases. Like, we were all together, and I knew
Is that
from
because
that
it
point
was
on.
before you got married?
Yeah, it was before. And it was like going to be the last time like we all celebrated Christmas morning together. So that to me was like one of the best times. And then obviously, when your kids are born and seeing them run around in the mornings, those will always be my favorite. But my ultimate was the last Christmas we were all together.
Got it. Jen.
Yeah.
So the first thing that popped into my mind was like sort of a Tiny Timish kind of story. So
You have to tell your own story, Jen.
it is my own story.
Oh, okay.
So, you guys know my life. So I'm consider myself very, very blessed and charmed to have created what I have. When I was 11, my parents split up, and my mom said that there would be no Christmas gifts that year because things were really bad. Like the electric was getting shut off, and it was not a good place. And we went down to Staten Island from upstate New York to see the family. And when we came back, there were gifts under the tree. One gift, it was a bean bag. This like cobalt blue bean bag, which was the only thing I really wanted, but thought I was getting nothing. And there was a gift under the tree. So it was like magical to me. But then my other favorite memory that I flashed to was we used to host an open house every Christmas Eve. And we had like a party where we had 96 people here. And I was just thinking about like, how I set up different rooms and different stations, and we had neighbors and friends and family from all different sides. And there's a song by Dar Williams called The Christians and the Pagans. And I remember thinking, I've got this whole Christian family here, and then my my Jewish friends were here, and then I had another sect who founded Garden State Ghost Hunters. So I had like the witchy people here, and it just was really cool because everyone was
Well,
just
you know what I have to say to that, Jen?
what?
God bless us all. Everyone.
So it's like the juxtaposition between two vastly different worlds.
Understood. Yeah.
So
All right. Cool. Jackie.
So I have so there were two actually. Well, it's funny. My mom actually had said this to me yesterday, and she said it's a picture that she carries with her all the time. It was one of the last Christmases before. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of passing since, but it was before my aunt passed. It's one of the last Christmases where we all happened to be together, and it was my cousin, my aunt. Were in that Christmas was just everybody together, and we were super young, but it's different as we get older and like having to split up or go to different holidays and on different sides and whatnot. But that one particular holiday, and it snowed, so which is a big deal because for it to snow on Christmas is always like everyone's dream.
Yep.
So that was really nice. And then my, I guess, best memory, not so much for me, but it was my cousins and I were raised like siblings and right next door to each other. And I'll never forget they got in so much trouble. They woke up, they snuck under the tree, and my cousin Michael, who you guys have not actually met yet, but he thought it would be a great idea to try to unwrap the presents to see what was there and then try to rewrap them. And didn't happen. Literally fell asleep midway, like under the tree. Everything just a disaster. I hear my uncle coming down, and my aunt came down, like oh my God, what did you just do? And he tried to blame it all on my younger cousin, which that was always the scapegoat. But let me tell you, them getting in trouble. I know it sounds so bad that it wasn't funny. I mean, it was funny, but I look back now and I'm like, oh my God, I killed my kids. But those things like that, they were always so bad.
That's good stuff right there.
But they're funny stories. Like they were just like things that stick out. Like that makes like looking back at Christmas just in general. It was fun. It was it was carefree. It was the excitement and just what was under the tree. There was just so much happiness no matter what we did. Whether it was that picture of us all together, the presents under the tree. I don't even know if it, looking back, I can't even remember to say like, oh, did I not get something I asked for? Like it wasn't even, it was just the excitement of it.
It doesn't matter, right? That's the thing about these traditions. They're things that we rely on and the families together, and that in of itself is terrific. I'm going to give you a Hanukkah memory and a Christmas memory. Okay. So Hanukkah, grandma's greasy latkes.
Oh yeah, I actually have some in my fridge right now.
Yes, which nobody who's within earshot is allowed to eat. Okay, so don't even think about it, people.
Listen, so, I have some. You know our friend Jan.
Yes.
Jan, he actually makes them. He made them and did a delivery. I have them in my fridge.
Oh, nice.
Me too. Me too.
But you also have a recipe though for doing it, like with what, zucchini or something?
Yeah, it's really good. I'm sending it out today.
Yeah,
really
good. Awesome. So that's that. And then as far as Christmas, well, I was blessed enough one time I was in Jerusalem while Christmas was happening.
Oh, wow.
And I just thought that was really cool. How many people get to spend Christmas in Jerusalem.
That's cool.
Yeah, who's ringing?
Jennifer, probably.
Jennifer.
Yeah, Jen.
Okay. Lightning round now. Let's talk about favorite holiday traditions. So this is not a store. This is just a lightning round. So Corinne, go.
Having cooking the 7 fishes for Christmas Eve and then eating it for Christmas morning for breakfast.
7 fishes for dinner and for breakfast. Okay. Trish.
Oh God. I guess holiday baking.
Holiday baking. Okay. Yeah. You like the process of baking or just what's baked? Okay.
No, I like the
enjoy
process.
Baking.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Jen.
Having my adult kids all under one roof again.
That's not a tradition.
It is.
It is?
It's Christmas Eve and they're back. So
okay. It's a new tradition.
Christmas Eve is our tradition, but having them all here.
Having them all here. Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah. Jackie.
So for us, we love seeing the lights. We're from Brooklyn and Diker lights are a big deal. We kind of I don't feel like you can't appreciate it unless you've been there. And it's one of our things. Like, it's just you have to see the lights. And for
Yeah.
us living there, we kind of took advantage of like, oh well, we live here, it's not a big deal.
Mhm.
And now going back to see those we really appreciate. And now biggest thing honestly is decorating. The day after Thanksgiving, it's Christmas in my house.
I got news for you. Right in Cranford, New Jersey, there's a street where I think they've all decorated, and
Oh
it's
really?
it's really cool.
Oh,
Um,
I gotta check
so
that out.
you can drive by that.
Our kids love the
Yes,
lights.
There's
yeah,
an
I
amazing
used to.
house in,
Old Bridge.
Yeah.
no, I was actually going to say in Hazlitt,
Oh yes.
where they do like a full blown Disney display.
Hmm.
And it
Mhm.
literally, you feel like you're like watching the Magic Kingdom on their house. Like you feel
Wow.
like you're back
Yeah.
in Disney. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool.
I think there are a lot of different towns that have,
Mhm.
one or two people or more that really make it special. So that's
Mhm.
cool. I, for one, used to love going to see the tree, and also obviously the ice skating, to just watch that at Rockefeller Center.
Mhm.
My understanding is these days Rockefeller Center is too crowded, so we should avoid it.
So crazy.
But that
Yeah.
was always a great tradition. And seeing the Rockettes.
Rochester, yeah, we haven't been in a couple years, but that was always fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So this brings me to my next question. And the topic arises, Jen and I actually did this on a Facebook group one time. We posed the question, what actually is happiness? And I went to look that up. I had printed out a bunch of quotes. So there were from philosophers and from writers, and they all spoke about what happiness actually is.
Mm.
And I went to look for that, and I can't find it. So I cannot share those quotes with you,
Mm.
unfortunately. So flunk on my part. But I'm curious to know from everybody, what is happiness? This thing that we're all pursuing, this thing that we all want. Let's start off with Jen.
Oy.
Mhm.
Thank you. So I think it's being able to be present, like in the moment, and really enjoy what's happening at the moment. And knowing that it's a personal question, I think, right? Like everybody's idea of happiness is a little bit different.
Right.
I tend to not be a happy camper when I'm not feeling a sense of order or control in my life, whatever that is. So when I know that I can take control of what's happening and be the one creating something, for lack of a better word. I don't know, like, my calendar is crazy, and okay, how can I fix this so that I can handle my calendar? Just an example. Or whatever's happening in the house or whatever it is. It's a better sense of like order and control, so that I don't have focus on the things that I can't handle or can't, so that I could be in the moment.
Right. So,
Yeah.
my first thought when you said that was, oh, crap, I hope Jen's not setting herself up here, because, happiness as control, that could be a tough one.
I know.
Sometimes it feels
I'm
like
not
we're right.
Yeah, no, I'm not a control freak. It's I like to make sure that everything goes right. So like yesterday I helped to set up a party. I was asked to cater the party, but it wasn't happening this year. And that made me not really happy, because I love making parties. So what I was able to do was to help set up and help clean up, and that creating something where other people can have fun at, that is something that makes me really happy. One
Got
thing.
it. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Who's next? Jackie.
For me, I totally get what Jen's saying. I feel like there's a sense of not control, but a sense of order.
Yep.
This way I can be present in life in general. But I mean, in a sense of happiness, what is happiness? I mean, it really is. I don't worry as much about myself. I feel like it'll come full circle for me to feel happy when others are around me, to see my children happy, my family happy, everybody healthy, enjoying themselves. I really just being in the moment, present with them, whatever it is. It's like sometimes, I mean, some of the best times that I've spent with family, that's even ones that I don't see that often, are just random dinners, just like hanging out and getting together and sitting around the island, just BSing, laughing, crying, talking about anything and everything. And it just brings so much joy and a sense of complete. It's nice to have everybody together,
Mhm.
And I think that happiness in general, I mean, and health goes a long way. the happiness portion goes a long way, but it's kind of how they work together. I
Understood.
feel like. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Trish.
Oh, I feel like that's so hard. I guess everybody like, yeah, it's just a hard question. I don't know. I think being around people that are happy and good situations, like that stuff brings me happiness, because when everybody is happy around you, I feel like it kind of
It's contagious.
forces, yeah, like you to be happy also, because you know
Absolutely.
the holidays can be rough. Like it's
Yeah.
a rough time of the year. It's stressful. So I
Mhm.
think like being around positivity and good laughter, like sitting around with family, that stuff makes me happy, and it makes me happy when everybody else is happy also.
Understood. Okay, cool. Corinne?
So for me, happiness is like enjoying life, and like everybody's saying, like being around family and making the best of all situations. So for me, it's like yesterday, for example, we've started this tradition in our family where like we all bake Christmas cookies together and have have Christmas music on, and just kind of just make wonderful memories of always being together and creating a strong bond. That's what makes me happy. If my family's happy and they're healthy, I'm good to go.
Got it. Okay, awesome. So I took a kind of a philosophical approach to this question, and I wrote down some thoughts here. So happiness is the natural state, the set point. It is the flowery shelf liner at the bottom of the sock drawer. We don't have to remove all of the socks in order to experience it. Just push them aside.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I like that.
You
Sorry.
like that, Jen? Does that remind
I'm
you of the sock
laughing
drawer?
because I'm thinking
I
like,
said I like it.
go ahead, Mr. Philosopher, Dr. Philosopher. I'm like, you sound like a girl writing Hallmark cards.
I also wrote, no, I would hope this is better than that, but I spent a little time. I thought about this. So I also wrote, unhappiness is the illusion that our anxieties are real.
Mhm.
What do we think of that? Kind of deep, huh?
So like you're saying happiness is an inside job then.
See, to
Happiness is
me,
an inside
that's
job.
nervousness, Dr. R. That's like a sense of uneasiness,
Well,
not
correct.
necessarily unhappiness. Like, because you're not unhappy, like, but anxiety doesn't mean you're unhappy. It just means that you have a sense of uneasiness.
But are you happy when you feel that way?
No.
No, it's
Yeah, that's
really
true.
hard. And like Jen was saying about control, and I was saying, well, that concerns me if you have it set up that way. But it's also the case that it's not possible to be happy if you feel that you're not in control of anything,
Right.
Mhm.
right? I defy anyone to to feel that way. You'd be in a loony bin. All
Well,
right.
yeah.
Happiness need not be actively pursued, and it's dangerous to wish for. It is an understanding that we are separate from our anxieties, that they are in the coat room while we're on the dance floor.
Mhm.
They're ghosts, apparitions, fabrications, conditioned physiological responses. Like Geppetto, we created them and gave them life. Their only sustenance is the significance we grant them.
Happiness is an inside job. So
Inside
is
job.
unhappiness.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. And then lastly, happiness is knowing that we are free to pursue our desires, are able to attain them, and free to try again when we fail.
That's nice.
You like that?
I
So
do.
it's
Can I get a
pursuing-
Hallmark card
I
contract?
think you're gonna say, "Can I get an amen?" I was like,
Can I get an amen, sister? Yeah, Jen, what were you saying?
I was saying I lost my train of thought. Wait, what was your last one? Oh,
I
so
don't
happiness is knowing that there's hope and knowing that you can pursue your dreams as not as something that happens to you, but something that you do, right? So
Yeah.
that's where that sense of order and control comes in. Like, what do you want in life and how do you go after it and get it? And part of that, like the thrill of pursuing that creates like some happiness too. Because you have to be, you have to be somebody who's like high energy to be able to create like what you want in life. So
Yeah, I think people get into a trap sometimes where, they have it set up, like you said, happiness is an inside job. So people have it set up that happiness comes from the outside and I will be happy when. You know,
Right.
when I lose 50 pounds,
Put a date
Yeah.
on
you
it.
know, yeah, when I buy a house, when whatever it is. And so it's a constantly chasing the tail, because once you achieve those things, we see it all the time. People are on the
Mhm.
program, they do the program, they lose 30 pounds in 40 days, and they're like, if only I could have lost 35.
Yeah.
At
Ah,
that
There's
point,
always,
in their mind, right?
yes.
I think there's a lot, and it's probably might be too general, but I feel like you have to kind of give yourself permission to be happy
Mm,
also, because a lot of people, the barriers, the things that stop them, what they probably don't even realize, the truth is life is life in general, right? There's always going to be something happening and going on. We're all going through something along the lines of whether it be positive or not so much, or whether it be family or friends or work related or anything in life. There's always going to be something happening at a given point, but you have to know that you're allowed to be happy. And it's not selfish to remove yourself from an equation and kind of say, as much as you may care about somebody else and what's going on, it's okay to remove yourself, still be present and there for somebody else, but still allow yourself that opportunity to be happy, so it doesn't suffocate you, or you don't succumb to that, because some people can't handle the two. And I think that, in terms of success, it's very easy when, if you're doing well, for example, like we're saying in our program, you lost 30 pounds in 40 days. Oh my gosh, it's me. If it was only 35, I would have been so close. But 40 days ago, you had 30 pounds to lose.
Right.
You just lost 30 pounds. And it's like, while you're going through it, it's like, okay, I'm doing. And now you got there and it's still not good enough.
right.
Like,
So to segue on what you were saying, or to rather validate it, happiness is an allowance to some
yeah,
degree, right? Because
like,
if we wanted to, if we set our GPS, we could always find something to be happy about. But unfortunately, we often, in this society that's so much about achievement, we
mhm,
often have our GPS on what's missing, on what we've yet to
always.
achieve, as opposed to allowing ourselves the grace to
Absolutely.
be happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
I have a
feel like
quote
there's,
about that too, by the way. I'm not going to share it.
I just feel like there's not enough. But for those who are suffering or in the thick of things, it's also a lot harder for them to find the good. And it's a
Sure.
and it's not to say that they're wrong. It's very hard, especially when they're going through something tough. But I feel like, as an overall, you have to really dig deep to find the good things, no matter what it is, because everything's a learning experience. Everything, whether it be bad or sad, we were in a place. There's a good memory. There's an opportunity. There's always an opportunity for something good. There's always that room for that little bit. And once you let that little bit in, it does change a lot. It does. It changes your perception. It changes on how you do things. Sometimes it just takes, that one conversation, that one interaction with somebody, that one event, that one day. You know what? I'm in a better place today. Make a different action tomorrow.
Yeah, what do you think goes on with people who have it all and still cannot be happy? There are people who are multimillionaires, who have beautiful families, who have everything that they would ever want and every opportunity to be happy, and yet somehow they just can't get there. What do you think that's about?
Well, Dr. R, what about the fact that they have everything, but people are also after everything? So their families constantly are asking them for something and perhaps not feeling appreciated by it, or a friend is constantly asking for something and they feel like they're constantly taking it for granted as opposed to wanted and needed.
Right.
For example, we have family that's in that situation, and we'll never like say anything to them, but they're constantly being told, they're constantly being asked for stuff from other people.
Mm,
Doesn't make them happy
right.
because they feel taken advantage of as opposed to appreciated. And I think that's a large part of the problem. Or if you look at super major celebrities, they have everything in the world, but they have paparazzi inside their lives following them
Yeah, but they
everywhere
don't.
they
Yeah.
go. You know what I mean? And they have no privacy and they have no sense of any of that. And it's like they have to have their curtains shut and they have to have this shut and they have to hide in every which way that they go. Or like, I don't know, like, it sounds great to have all that money and to have all those things, but there's so many barriers that go along with that too.
I think it's
Right.
choice though too.
Thank you. I was just thinking that. I was just going to say
A lot of
it's
it's
a
choice.
choice. It's
Yeah.
it's deciding not to be a victim. Like
Yeah.
I get asked for so much. So what? People are going to ask for things all the time, but you
Yeah.
get to decide what you're going to say yes to and what you're not going to
Mhm.
say yes to. I think the biggest thing is we put so much emphasis on the things outside of us, making us happy or making us miserable. I mean, they can impact us, but if you take a step back and you look at it, it's a choice and a decision to let those things affect you.
Mm.
Mhm.
I pulled up a quote since we're doing quotes, and it's one of my favorites because
Anyone could pull up quotes, Jen. Write one.
so everything goes back to all my favorite
Don't make
movies.
me
'Cause
laugh.
there's-
My back
I
is
know,
killing me.
your back hurts. There's so much truth in so many of these things. Like it's a quote from Harry Potter. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. But the presupposition there is that the light is an external light, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
what I have found is that the light comes from within us. And when we're holding that light in us, it not only lights us up, but it lights others up. And I think that goes back to creating memories and what Trish said about being around happy people. Like, someone walks in the room and you go, oh, I can't breathe. Well, that's not someone who has much light inside. So they're looking to like make everybody speak the same language, which is
Yes.
dark.
Well,
Well,
sometimes
I
they're
agree with
looking
that.
to steal
Yeah.
other people's light because they don't have it within them, right?
It's true.
Well,
I mean,
right.
yeah. I've had this conversation with Jen before too. I mean, there have been many times where I've been considered to be quote unquote selfish
Mhm.
because I've removed myself from situations that
Yep.
not, and when I say, and I don't mean remove where I've completely cut off, because that's not what I mean.
No, just don't
But
let
where
it
I've been surrounded by, yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
there's sad things going on, but what I've done is I've taken myself up and out of it so that I could be more present there.
Yeah.
I kind of put a wall up where it was more like I want to be able to help on all levels, but I also need for my own sanity and to still stay positive for my family, for my young children. I want them to see both sides of things, right? So it doesn't mean I ever forget someone who has passed. It doesn't mean that I've ever forgotten that someone is ill or sick.
Right.
Never. There's actually not a second that passes that I don't. But it's that I kind of put it in I separate them a little bit so that I can control them my own way, where it doesn't take over my whole mindset or cloud my judgment or distract me from doing my day-to-day activity.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that I'm not acknowledging or caring or there for anyone.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it so that I have the ability to take myself out of it so that I can do both.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Just because I'm happy doesn't mean that I'm not sad over things that have happened or
100%.
people that are no longer with us or anything like that. That's absolutely complete opposite, actually.
Yeah. So you say that, and it's funny because, when we were looking at the Christmas memories, I was looking at two completely different worlds.
Yeah.
And, just because, and people have said this to me, like, nothing ever bad happens to you. I'm like, no, it's just how I deal with it. I have lots of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Flung at me on a daily basis.
All the time.
Some of which, I don't post the bad on Facebook, not because I want to create an illusion of that there is no bad. I just don't really want to put out there negativity and draw in like the wrong kind of attention, like pity or, again, you guys know some of the stuff that went on recently. It's how you choose to deal with it. Everybody has stuff, right?
Agreed.
And some worse than others, but it's you're finding something that you can control. And everybody has a bad connotation of the word control, but it's really a definition of the word. So like define good. What is good?
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. So, you can find something. Otherwise the bad stuff drags you down because you're not taking charge of the situation. So once you find that ability to figure out where you can be in control, at least of yourself, right?
Well,
absolutely.
Jen, I think what you're speaking to is the power of perspective and the power of framing also,
Perspective.
because
Absolutely.
right, we were saying how some people have it set up, if they lose 30 pounds, they're upset because they didn't lose 35 pounds.
35. Right.
Right. And
Yeah.
some people have it set up, well, they're going to be, happy when they become a multimillionaire.
Right.
Even though that, just to live in this country, to have a car puts you in the top 1% in the whole world, really. Right.
Yeah. It's
So-
definitely
So
perspective.
lack of perspective. And this is the problem with, and I cannot comment too much on child rearing, right? I'm certainly not an expert on it, but this is the
Whiz.
problem with children who are spoiled, because it totally throws off their frame and their expectations, and there's no perspective, there's no ability to put things into a proper, or at least an empowering context,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
If they don't get the exact thing that they wanted on Christmas, they have a hissy fit, whereas they're blessed to have gotten anything. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
Right.
that's an important point. The other thing is that I heard you hearing, there's this concept among psychologists called being inner directed or being outer directed.
Mhm.
We're so used to being outer directed, like you said, the happiness comes from something outside of us. The center of control, the center of who we are, is not coming from within. It's coming rather from without. It's like chasing your tail constantly. There's no way to satisfy that itch.
Yeah. So, it's funny you mentioned one of my favorite topics, psychologists and psychiatrists. So can I just
mention psychologists?
psychologists, they're all tied in. It's a pipeline. But I know the title was mental health versus physical health, right?
Right. And I scrupulously went
I
away
know.
from that because we have to disclaim it now. We really can't talk about quote unquote mental health.
Yes.
We can certainly talk about happiness or things like
Yes.
that, but there might be, legal considerations in talking about mental health. But
So
we mean the generic.
I get right. So
Yeah.
can I share a perspective of having dealt directly? And this comes back to nutrition.
Yeah,
Like having dealt directly with one for Family Matters.
go ahead.
The acknowledgement is that we need to handle body issues first. So like people who are depressed could have, and I'm making a blanket statement from my own personal experience of dealing one-on-one. Check your thyroid levels, like rule out all contributing factors that could be making us sad. So you know how you eat garbage and you get up the next day and you feel like, oh,
Mhm.
those are physiological things impacting the body. So it's been, sunshine, daylight. You touched upon that earlier, right? Vitamin D levels, vitamin B, magnesium, iron levels are a big deal because iron in the blood, oxygenated blood is iron rich. So if
Right.
you're not getting like oxygen to the brain, physiologically you shut down. So like there are, I just was like commenting since you brought up psychology.
Yeah, no, and let me take it from there, because the larger context is that it's assumed sometimes with people that they have a psychiatric condition if they're not happy. Meanwhile, there's so much else that can be going on. You
Right.
take anybody, no matter how, theoretically stable that they are, and you lock them inside, let's say, or they're not eating a healthy diet. Anyone could feel depressed under those circumstances. Now,
Right.
obviously, competent professionals try to make a distinction between that, but not all of them do.
Right. Yeah.
And the other thing is that the foundation is how we feel physically. So we were talking about necessary conditions. If you feel run down, if you feel depleted, it is very hard to feel happy, because energy is almost a precondition
Right.
of being able to experience happiness, being able to experience joy, being able to experience, period. People
Right.
who are depleted just don't experience. They're very much blah.
Numb. Yeah. So
Right.
it's food, it's nutrition, it's environment, like surrounding yourself with the right people. It's sleep patterns, God guilty. But those are things we can control. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Like, you ever have a really bad day and you're like, I didn't sleep and I haven't eaten and I've too much caffeine and blah, 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 blah. And something happens and it like crushes you. And on another day it wouldn't. So
That's
like
right.
that's a big deal. Of those are things that we can control. Like, I have a totally on a tangent, but I have a friend whose nephew's her brother-in-law passed, and the nephew started seeing somebody to talk about it, and they were like, well, you're depressed, and they gave him meds. And I'm like, of course he's depressed. His dad died. Come on. It's sadness. We have to be able to allow ourselves to feel appropriate emotions at appropriate times also. So some of that plays into our control of happiness.
Right.
Like, we're being told so many mixed messages about what happiness is and when we should have it. It's not normal to have happiness if somebody dies, unless they're like nasty, and then you go,
Yeah, that's just
Well,
weird.
you're nasty.
you're nasty. But but it is appropriate to be happy when, like, there's a birth of a child, right? And it's appropriate to feel sad when somebody passes. Maybe.
Understood.
So-
Listen, I think it's a great point. I mean, it's one of the ways that we help people is by giving them that good physiological or physical baseline. Because if that's not there, then it is very hard to experience a sustained or relatively sustained level of happiness. So, guys, last words. Get in your last words before we say goodbye.
Well, this is actually it's going to be a pretty big one, because we are not meeting now until after the new year. This is our last live.
Well, it doesn't mean you have to
So
make
I
up
think
for the
that-
time we're going to miss next week, Jackie.
No, but just super important, because I know with the holidays, everybody, I know we're talking, mental clarity and getting healthy, and the holidays are here. We're in the thick of it, literally. Coming down like that in the new year, just plan ahead, be prepared, let yourself be happy. So it's okay. Don't feel bad about it. If you want to be happy, then be happy. Literally. That is it. The life that we have is the life that we're living. So don't take advantage of, I should say, don't miss the opportunity to take advantage of being happy.
Sure.
So this is the time to do it.
Awesome. Cool. Who else? Corinne.
Just hug your family tight. Enjoy your family over the holidays.
Hug your family. Avoid hugging other people's families without consent. Good advice. Hard to be happy in the pokey.
Enjoy the moments. Enjoy the moments. Videotape the moments so that you can go back and you can always cherish those.
I'm going to do that more for
else
sure.
videotape it. The person who's videotaping is not experiencing the moment.
This is it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you want to laugh though?
Yeah, but if you don't videotape it, then you don't have the moments. And you're absolutely correct, because I'm always the one doing the videoing and I'm never in the pictures. But we go back and we look at the pictures and I'm like, oh my God, Marissa's voice is so little. Or Brianna's voice is so little. And so you have to cherish those moments. Just cherish your moments with your family and enjoy.
Paul Simon said, preserve your memories. They're all that's left to you.
Yeah.
Trisha, what do you have to say?
Enjoy your family. Have a happy, healthy, enjoy, be present, and we'll see you next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jen.
That's all, folks.
That's it. I'm thinking, guys, enjoy. Don't overindulge too much, because I don't want my new year to be harder than it's going to be with you guys. So if you have any questions, even though we're not going to be on the live next week, reach out to us. We're here. Reach out before, and then have a really wonderful time with your families.
Yeah, we're going to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're going to be here again on January 3rd, where we're going to be presenting our amazing new maintenance program, guys. 2023 is the year that you take it off and you keep it off and encourage others to do it. So let me get in a plug right now, and then I want to get back to our topic and kind of summarize it a little bit. So one of the things that we're doing right now, we want everyone to start. We want everyone to get to their goal weight. It's a big push, because now we have more of an ability to keep you there, or you have more of an ability with our assistance, I should say. So we want to encourage people to refer their family and their friends. Now, everyone tells us the same thing. They want to refer people, but it's too big a commitment for those other people, or it's too big an expense, or whatever their consideration is. What we are doing to help you with that is we are actually going to be selling 10-day programs. It's a 10-day detox. It's a great opportunity to just kind of, stop the train from going downhill, start the process of reversing, and we're doing it for $299. So you could do that between now and Friday. It's not going to be available after that as we are into the holidays. So that's one thing I want you to know. Take advantage of that. They're good stocking stuffers. Get it for your friends and family, or tell them to call us, and we will honor that if they mention your name. Okay? So shameless plug over. Let me say this. Ladies, thank you. There was a lot of good stuff that we covered. I think there are some points that need emphasizing. Number one is if you're not physically healthy and if your energy is low and you're depleted, it is very hard to experience happiness. We all know this. Who's happy when they're hungover or sick?
Right.
I mean, it's really hard. So that's one thing, right? It starts with you. Also, the idea of allowing yourself happiness, of giving yourself that gift and that grace is something that we don't do often. Somehow we have it in our heads that we're not allowed to be happy, or at least we're not allowed to be happy yet. Really, people who are really bad at this, the martyry, Jewish grandmothers type, how could they be happy unless everyone else is? No.
Starts
Just be happy, right? Allow yourself. Yes, Jeff.
Starts with the man in the mirror.
Starts with the man in the mirror. Right. Starts with Michael Jackson.
Right.
Now, in addition to that, it's very important to discover what it is that makes you happy, or to create it from the inside out and not wait for it to come from something that's beyond you.
Right.
Something that's beyond your control. But it is important to control what you can control. And here's we get into the serenity prayer, which is genius, right? Control what you can control, and that in of itself will give you a sense of empowerment, which, if not exactly happiness, is certainly related. All right. So I just wanted to give that quick summary. If you listen to nothing else, just listen to that. And I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.
Same to you guys.
Yep. Exactly.
Same to you guys.
Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy
Merry
Hanukkah.
Christmas. Happy New Year.
Say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye. Take
Have
care.
a good one.